Now, obviously, I already know you have seen the title. Over the last few days, there has been a lot of drama and a lot of allegations in FaZe Clan. More specifically, PDF allegations. Because I cannot say the word on YouTube, I'm going to assume you know what I'm talking about. So let's cover all of the drama that has happened so far, everything we know, and let's get straight into this. So this started off about a week ago now, where FaZe Rain claims that he quit FaZe due to an alleged PDF. Now, he didn't actually name anyone, but majority of the internet decided to assume that it was FaZe Banks. However, obviously, contrary to popular belief, it's not actually FaZe Banks, so FaZe Banks had to come out with a statement. And in that statement, the penny dropped as FaZe Banks denies being a naughty word and says that FaZe Temperrr is the one with the allegations. Now, obviously, this is some pretty serious stuff. So Temperrr originally came out and denied the allegations, but then he came out with a story, okay? And that story was apparently one day he was at a 21 plus club in New York, and he ended up getting with a 17-year-old. Apparently, he did not know the 17-year-old's age, and he basically just assumed. But this is odd, because for some reason, originally, it was two 16-year-olds and not a 17-year-old. And apparently, Temperrr originally never said he didn't know the girl's age. So, some dodgy stuff. Anyway, moving on, because of all of this drama, FaZe Temperrr has now been removed from the official FaZe roster, so he is no longer part of the FaZe organisation. And due to FaZe Rain being on a phone call with Temperrr's wife, who was absolutely crying and talking about her son and how it's going to ruin his life, FaZe Rain retracted the PDF label. Now, a lot of news sources said, oh, he retracted the allegations. That is actually incorrect. But it did not end then. Since then, we have got a lot more information. There's been a few back and forths between FaZe Rain and FaZe Temperrr. Temperrr's also kind of trying to sympathy farm by changing his profile pictures to a picture of him and his kid. But let's get to the facts. So, FaZe Rain has actually been in contact with a few people that knew the girls Temperrr got with. And as well as that, Rain is now trying to get in contact with the two girls so he can hear the full story. And I also believe he's trying to get in contact with the FBI. Don't exactly know how real that claim is. I doubt he will actually speak to the FBI themselves. But, I mean, anyway, this could technically be an actual crime. But now we get to the actual story. So, because FaZe Rain managed to get in contact with a few people who knew the high school girls, we now know that they were indeed not 17. And this is very important because the age of consent in New York is 17. So the official story now is they are at a 21 plus club. Now, obviously, I have no idea how they managed to get in the club. I mean, fake IDs are very prevalent nowadays. But the girls, turns out, are either 15 and 16 or 16 and 17. So it really is not looking good for good old Temperrr. I also still don't get why Temperrr would have just assumed their ages. Surely that's something you would ask if you're going to get with a girl. I mean, I don't speak to girls, so I have no idea. Anyway, back on track. There has also been some other information. Apparently, Temperrr followed their Instagrams after they got together. I'm not gonna lie, if you found out they were underage, why are you then proceeding to continue to follow their Instagrams? Very, very odd stuff. But there's actually a reason I had to wait a few days to actually make this video. One, because Call of Duty started getting more news again, and that's kind of more important for my channel. But two, the original story is very odd, because first of all, in the original story, this happened post-COVID. I believe 2022 or 2023 is the date. But now that we have heard from people who know the two high school girls, turns out it actually happened pre-COVID in 2019. So instead of FaZe Temperrr being in his 30s, he would have been about 26. Which is obviously still pretty illegal. Now, because there was a lot of misinformation and a lot of dates that contradicted each other and different stories, the internet has been pretty decided. Obviously, majority of the internet no longer like FaZe Temperrr, but obviously, because there are morons on the internet, some of them are trying to defend him. Now, obviously, FaZe Rain has also gotten a bit of backlash because of all of these allegations, because apparently FaZe Rain learnt about what happened in 2023. That is when Temperrr told him. So a lot of people are confused of why would you wait 2 years to make these allegations. However, FaZe Rain has claimed that he did not have enough information and evidence to actually talk about this. He wanted to get more evidence. And now that we have all of this evidence and then even an admission from Temperrr, we basically know the story. Now, obviously, yes, there is still more evidence trying to come out. Rain is trying to get evidence. He's trying to get in contact with the 2 girls. And because Temperrr kind of tried to sympathy farm, FaZe Rain is now in contact with the police. He wants Temperrr 100% punished. Not going to lie, now that I know the entire story, I 100% agree with FaZe Rain. But what does this mean for FaZe Clan? Because obviously, over the past few years, it's not looked very good for FaZe Clan. Obviously, you may know the FaZe Clan as the old gaming group, Call of Duty group. Since then, they now mainly focus on content creation and streaming. There was a whole thing after COVID of like them just making stupid business decisions. I'm sure you've seen all of the drama that has happened. And once again, they are in more drama. Now, because of this, I believe that FaZe are only down to 2 OG members, those being FaZe Adapt and FaZe Rug. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, who should take the lead of FaZe? A lot of people are saying Rug, which I don't really get. I'd probably say Adapt, considering he also does a lot of content creation and streaming nowadays. I've even seen some people say Jev, which I'm not gonna lie, as awesome as that sounds, that's just not who Jev is. If you know Jev, you should know he loves to stay away, as far away as possible, from anything corporate and anything that just doesn't feel true to himself. He literally just wants to play video games until he dies. So I think with all the original members nearly leaving, it's probably safe to say the old FaZe is dead. I mean, I've seen a lot of memes saying, oh, I can no longer support FaZe in the CDL, I'm going to have to move to Optic, which, I mean, FaZe have actually rebranded in CDL. They've gone from Atlanta FaZe to FaZe Vegas. But, I mean, it's very sad to see how far FaZe has fallen as a brand. Obviously, you have the current newer group of, like, Lakey, Ronaldo, Jason. They're all doing absolutely amazing. And I'm not claiming to be an OG FaZe fan. When I discovered FaZe, it was more in the Fortnite days with Mongrel and Sway. But still, back then, FaZe were pretty popular as a gaming organisation, and now it's just sad to see that because of all of the drama that has happened, as also with a rebrand, it's sad to see that the OG FaZe is definitely dead, other than Jev, who just still uploads Call of Duty. I still find it hilarious that even though Jev doesn't go to any of these Call of Duty events, and a lot of the time he plays other games, he still manages to be technically the biggest Call of Duty content creator. But it's still pretty sad to see what has happened to this organisation. Now, you may be wondering, why are you uploading FaZe drama when your topic is Call of Duty? Not gonna lie, I kind of had nothing else to upload, and I'm trying to get more consistent with uploading. I'm gonna try start grinding more, hopefully maybe trying to get to daily uploads, probably every other day because of my schedule. And I thought that this topic also just slightly linked to Call of Duty, obviously with FaZe Clan. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what you think about this entire situation down in the comment section below. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. You guys are the absolute best. It really does help the channel grow, and your support is absolutely amazing. With all that being said, I've been Chris X. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.